Hello there friends, today as always we will discuss all the latest news. I apologize for not having a video after the IEM Cologne final, but I think no one was too upset as it was quite predictable. Today it's better to focus on the latest reshuffle news, what M0NESY shared recently, and a brief look at what's happening in the Tier 2 tournaments. Without further ado, let's get straight to it. As usual, we begin with the reshuffles. Godsend introduced their new lineup: Galden, Plopsky, ZTR, Bobek, and Hype. Don't confuse Hype with the young Hyped from the BIG Academy. This way, we almost have the complete previous NAP lineup. It's good that the guys have found an org to cover for them. Let's see if they can make something out of it. Another interesting info came from Dagster. He talked about where he could have ended up during the off-season. I had offers, I didn't mention most of them, but there were Mouse and Fnatic. I can honestly say one thing, I don't want to offend any of the teams I mentioned, but my main question has always been, what will your roster be? When you see that all these teams have the same guy, as a logical person I understand that this guy is unlikely to join the teams. That's where the difficulties arise. I've understood well that esports is a business. There's a point where if an organization comes and is ready to pay meager money, you won't go there because it's business. So could Dagster have ended up in a Mouse instead of Torzy? Interesting. In Fnatic it's clear instead of Afro, and I think that would have been a great lineup. But apparently Dagster is waiting for better offers. The only question is, will they come anytime soon? It seems like everyone who wanted to make changes has already done it. Let's see. And by the way, some more intriguing news just arrived. According to Harumi, Nico was actually invited to Navi when they were assembling their new lineup and apparently testing the waters. Just imagine, Nico agrees and we could have seen an unreal duo of Simple and Nico in one team, but the Kovic brothers stayed in G2 and recently they won IEM Cologne. The rumors about Navi don't end there. For those who don't know, Dust2 reported that Navi bought IMEI for $900,000 and JL for $450,000. However, Navi's CEO stepped in and denied all these rumors. According to his words, the mentioned price tag is at least twice as much as they actually paid. So for IMEI, it turns out they gave around $450,000 or $400,000, and for JL, it's about $200,000. JL himself mentioned on a stream that this is a complete nonsense, he couldn't be worth $500,000. According to reliable sources, I'm worth $450,000. There's no org willing to pay $500,000 for a player whose contract expires in 3 weeks, even for Simple or Zyvu. Another attempt to generate clicks. It turns out that Apex could have lost him for free. But we've got even more reshuffle news. Into the Breach have found a new player, or at least they're playing qualifiers for IEM Sydney with Misuta. In case you missed it, they recently kicked Neofrag due to inappropriate jokes within the team. Another interesting point. There's a team tagged QM registered for the IEM Sydney qualifiers too. It includes Syrson, Danish Nico, JDC, Susp, and Bird from Sky. Rumors suggest that they were supposed to join Prospects, but something went wrong. Insiders now say this 5 is in talks with 00 Nation. And finally, we have two unexpected news pieces. First is about TSM. It seems like the roster was on the brink of disbanding, their coach left, management was causing issues, but the guys still played in the IEM Sydney qualifiers. And with the same lineup that we mentioned before. It's Inters, Valde, Cypher, Modo and Jax. And the most surprising part, Extaz is also on the roster. Now the community thinks that the 5 left TSM and are playing on their own. They'll play, showcase themselves, and then some organization will likely sign them. And the most incredible news, a possible iBuyPower comeback. Remember the guys who got banned by Valve? Well, it seems they're planning to return. They're constantly teasing their audience on Twitter, saying they've prepared something very interesting for the release of CS2. Now that would have been the comeback of the century. By the way, I also have news about CS2. As you can see, the developers are actively updating the beta. They recently switched from Anubis to Ancient, and essentially we've got only one more map to come, Inferno, and the entire map pool will be ready to go. And one of the data miners found release date for the game. The new season of CS2 is set to begin on September 23rd, so theoretically this would mark the release of the game itself. It seems that by the end of August, the beta will be open to everyone and the release will take place at the end of September. Therefore, it appears that the ESL Pro League might be the last championship in CSGO, if we are to believe all these rumors. And the other day, professional players decided to organize a flash mob. They all simultaneously started writing that CS2 is about to be released any moment now. However, as always, it turned out to be another bluff from the pro players. Personally, I believe that the open beta will be released closer to the end of August. Well, that's it for the reshuffle news and the CS2 news, but I have a bunch of interviews for you. For instance, M0NESY appeared on James Banks' podcast and shared many interesting details. For example, he could have taken B1T's place in Navi. Here's what he said. The amount of my buyout from Navi was slightly more than people think. I won't reveal the exact amount, but let's stick to the fact that it was $600,000. Because if I say it was a bit more, people will stop typing minus 600k in the chats when I miss a shot, or plus 600k when I make an accurate shot. In any case, it's an incredible amount. I think a different young player in my position would have felt pressure and believed they needed to perform better since so much was paid for them. But it wasn't like that for me. I didn't care. I had just joined the team and wanted to learn something new, to improve to become number one in the future and compete with the best like Simple and Zyvu. I realized I wouldn't move to Navi since B1T took my position. If he hadn't moved to the main roster, I would have been the second sniper on the team. When B1T joined Navi, I was genuinely happy for him. It was every academy player's dream. When B1T replaced Flamey in the main roster on Inferno, I understood that I couldn't go there. After We Play Academy, I started receiving invitations from Tier 1 teams. Some of them offered very good conditions, salary, even an apartment. But those things didn't concern me. I was interested only in players who could take care of me. G2 was one of those teams. There's Nico, Hunter, and Jax. I immediately decided to join them. I thought I could learn a lot from them. The team has a great atmosphere, firepower, and the best rifler in the world. We thought M0NESY wouldn't join Navi because of Simple, but it turns out it was because of B1T. What do you think? If M0NESY did end up in the main roster of Navi, would they have performed better? Or was B1T the missing piece that led Navi to their small but significant era? Share your thoughts in the comments, as always. Meanwhile, M0NESY is tearing it up in G2 and recently won IEM Cologne. The final was quite one-sided. On the winning nuke, G2 didn't give up a single round in the second half, on the victorious Mirage only 2 rounds, and on the last map, Ancient, just 3 rounds. Quick maths, on the 3 winning maps, G2 conceded only 5 defensive rounds. What is this if not the easiest final for G2? Yes, they lost on Anubis, but in reality it had no impact. Nico snatched the MVP medal from M0NESY, and this season Kovac is showing incredible CS. His stats at major tournaments are at 1.21, Shiro has 1.22, Device 1.23 and Zyvu 1.30. Simple is only in the 7th place. In other words, Nico is the only rifler in the top 5. And he's not far behind at all. And it's heartwarming to see Device joining the race. Overall, the battle for the top 5 of HLTV at the end of the year is shaping up to be incredibly intense. Meanwhile, after Cologne, several other championships started. One of them is the CCT series. In the finals, VP and Team Spirit faced off. The Bears emerged victorious, but it went to overtimes, so there was plenty to watch. The new roster of Team Spirit is showing good performance. Over the past month, they've achieved 9 consecutive wins and only 2 losses, one of them against VP and the other against Into the Breach in the IEM Sydney qualifiers. And here's another interesting championship that many of you might be hearing about for the first time. In this tournament, the new BB lineup was led by Nefani. They defeated the Boomich's team, won against 500 and Into the Breach. This secured them a slot in the closed qualifiers. Few believed that they would just start playing and perform well immediately, but they did. Yes, currently it's a tier 2 level, but remember, this is a completely new team, not just 1, 2 or even 3 new players. All 5 of them met for the first time and are showcasing some juicy CS. They still need to compete against NIP, OG and Apex for the last slot, but possibly we might see them at a higher tier tournaments in October. Here's what Nefani had to say about it. We haven't been training for long and many maps are still raw for us. Considering this, making it to the closed qualifiers is certainly cool, but the minimum goal is to mess with as many teams as possible and prevent them from getting into the closed qualifiers. And then it's all about what happens next. So they not only achieved but even exceeded the minimum goal, I would even say with a touch of triumph. They messed with others enough to secure their spot in the closed qualifiers themselves. Friends, that's all I wanted to talk about today. I apologize once again for the long absence. There aren't too many news updates, so perhaps it's the perfect time to discuss the new Cloud9 roster. If you're interested in that, please let me know in the comments. And now we're looking forward to the upcoming major tournament, Gamers 8. It's going to be really intense. Thank you all kindly for watching, my friends. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and I will see you soon.